It's your boy Sid, and welcome to the Dallas Cowboys for Life channel. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to speak your mind all the time. Guys, I got a special guest, and I'm probably going to destroy his last name. I got Dave Sturchio. Is that right?
There it is, man. Right on the money.
All right, I got Dave with us. Dave, introduce yourself. Let the fans know where to find you.
Yeah, sure, man. Dave Sturchio of the Jersey Boys podcast. You can find us at Jersey Boys Pod with a Z. You can find me on Twitter at Dave Sturchio. That's DaveSturchio. Me, Brett Ernst, comedian in the United States, since you're over in Canada. The United States over here is Brett Ernst is our comedian, and of course his brother Keith. We're a trios, and we're pretty much the toughest Cowboy fans out there. I mean, I don't think there's any more tough fan than a New Jersey Cowboys fan. I think we are. I'm sorry to say that, and I'll put that on blast right away. We are the toughest breed of Cowboy fans out there. New Jersey has to deal with the Giants. We have to deal with the Eagles right next door. We got to deal with Washington football team, whatever they're calling themselves, down 3 hours down the turnpike. So we're right in the middle of enemy territory. So it's tough, but we're making do.
Yeah, man, I'm pretty sure it's tough down there. Now, Dave, I always ask this to everyone who comes on my show. I want people to know a little bit about you. What made you become a Dallas Cowboy fan?
It's inherited through my dad. He is a lifelong fan since he was born in 57. The Cowboys came out in 60. So around like 63, 64, he was old enough to know football, and he grew up a Cowboys fan. He didn't want to follow the crowd. You know, we're in Jersey. And he didn't want to follow the crowd, so he's like, you know what? I really like this America's team thing. This is really cool. He ran on with those, and it's like a blessing and a curse. You know, he raised me a Cowboy fan when I was growing up. I was born in '85, so right around 91, 92 is when I started actually understanding football. And lo and behold, we became Super Bowl champions 3 out of 4 years. So I was spoiled as a kid, but the rest happens. The rest is history, and we haven't done it since. So, but that's where my fanhood comes from. Is my old man.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's how I became a Dallas Cowboys fan too. My dad was a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, and I used to watch him. I was younger, he's getting mad at the TV, screaming, and so on. I'm just like, what is this? I didn't get it, and you're right. And I didn't start becoming a Dallas Cowboys fan probably to 94, 95, the Deion Sanders era, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman. So I'm with you. I totally understand that. So with that being said, you started your podcast.
Yes.
Now, that wasn't an easy, this is a grind. And I want the fans out there to understand, running a podcast, doing a YouTube channel, this is a daily grind, and we always got to be on top of things. Tell people how hard it is and how you got to doing your podcast.
I've been podcasting on and off for about, I want to say 6 years. I was in the world of professional wrestling for a little while, and I did a lot of wrestling podcasts and stuff like that. But my main passion was sports, and my main goals in life were to be in sports media and sport broadcasting. I went to school at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, got my certificate there. I did an internship with the New York Giants. Don't kill me.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. And you know what the worst part? The worst part was it was a 2007 season when they won the Super Bowl. However, I did get to see the Cowboys come in and put a beating on them in that season. But I digress. But podcasting, it's a lot of fun. It's a chance for all fans and even professionals and non-professionals to kind of get together, talk a little shop. I'm blessed to have Brett Ernst on my show because, again, he's a comedian. He's nationwide known. And his brother Keith is like, I can't even explain how deep his brain goes. Like he's that guy that has that extra nugget that really juices up the podcast. But, when we decided to do this, I was doing my own podcast at first. Talking all sports, and I shot my shot on Twitter, and we all know how this is how it's done. You shoot a message, you see if it works, and if it doesn't work, no worries. I shot a message to Brett, and I said, "Look, man, I was like, I know you do a gambling show. I know you're a big Cowboys fan. How would you like to get on my podcast just as a guest? That's all I wanted was a guest spot." And he's like, "Yo, man, let me call you." And all of a sudden, we brainstorm, and he's one of my favorite comedians. And all of a sudden, I'm on the phone with him. Yeah. And we're brainstorming ideas, and he's like, we should do our own thing. And I was like, whoa, oh, okay, and then that was it. We're up to this week coming up is episode 14 already, man. So we've been doing it pretty much the entire quarantine.
Yeah, man. Guys, go listen to the show. It's a great show. Jersey Boys podcast. look them up and check them out. Because like I said, we're all out here doing the same thing, showing the love that we have for the Dallas Cowboys. And you can get it through YouTube, through podcasts, checking stuff up on your phone. It's all over the place. I think the Dallas Cowboys have the biggest fan base. And we have
America's team, bro.
Yeah. And I don't know if you noticed, but there's not much bloggers out there for any other teams.
You know what's funny? We actually, Keith, we're all former athletes. Like Keith and Brett were phenomenal football players. I played football growing up as well, but I never made it to the collegiate level. But it's funny because they want, and we've been looking and searching high and low. We want a 3-on-3, like Jersey Boys podcast versus an Eagles podcast, a Giants podcast, a Redskins, in a flag football game, a friendly flag football game where we all meet up. But we can't find anybody. We've been searching for opponents, and there's nobody out there. They don't want to get this smoke. That's the problem. You got 3 guys from Jersey that are going to rough you up, and you don't want to deal with it.
Guys, you heard it here first. So
yeah, man.
If you guys want to have that flag football match, hit him up on Twitter. Yeah, it's under his name. Check him out. Definitely go and do that. So let's get into what we really are here for today. The NFL season is very sketchy right now. And I know you and Jay Tuck, and I want to send a shout out to my man Jay Tuck, have pretty much been going.
One of my new best friends.
Yeah, have pretty much been going at it. And you know, I'm 50-50. I'm thinking there is going to be an NFL season. They're going to do what needs to be done to make sure that we have an NFL season, and you know, no fans in the stands, as most stadiums are opting out. I know Philly already opted out of having no fans, and now the Dallas Cowboys officially today are refunding ticket sales.
Well, they didn't. The Eagles said no fans. The Cowboys didn't say no fans yet. They just basically said, "Hey, there's no reason for the season ticket holders to have all these tickets because we're not going to be allowed to allow this many people." So they started saying, "All right, all season tickets are cut," which crushed me today, man. I had tickets for Week 15, and I bought my tickets off a season ticket holder, and now I'm on the phone literally from 8 a.m. till literally 10 minutes before we got on, trying to get my money back and refunds and all this other stuff. It's like pulling teeth with these people. It's like, I know the airlines are losing money because of COVID, and it stinks, but that's not my problem. You know what I mean? Like, give me my money back. So it's been a mess. But, yeah, I mean, this season, me and Tuck go at it because he just doesn't – I don't feel like he's as optimistic as I am. That's what it is. I'm not saying it because I think I'm smarter or I know more or I'm more educated. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm just optimistic. I believe they put a good plan in place, the NFL has, and there's going to be a season. And like, for all the people that are like, there's no chance, no way, and, you know, the list of people opting out gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Names are doing it now. They're like, that's it, cancel the season. Dude, guys get hurt every year. Yeah. Teams have to mold their rosters based off of whatever the case, you know? So now this is just another injury, you know? So you're going to have to deal with it. The Patriots, I feel like I think Belichick is a madman. I think he's actually making these guys opt out so they tank and they get Trevor Lawrence next year. That's just my off the wall prediction. But no, I mean, yeah, it's a sketchy season so far, and you know, I'm excited. I'm a football fan first before I am a writer or a podcaster or anything like that. I'm a fan at heart, and all I want is a distraction from all this craziness that's going on in the world. You know, between COVID-19 and racial injustice and this, that, and the third. And there's so many issues going on right now. You just want to see your team score a touchdown. That's it. You know what I mean? That's all I really want right now. And that's what I'm rooting for. I'm not Tuck. I'm not rooting for no season.
Ooh, Tuck, you guys are going to keep going at it after this, I'm sure. Listen, I'm optimistic too, and I think that Belichick is – and I got a text yesterday from one of my guys in my fantasy, and he's like, oh, well, if the Patriots lose their team, there's not going to be a season. I'm like, listen, if the Patriots want to bow out, let them, and let's mold the schedule without them. That's how I look at it.
I don't think it's going to get to that point. I truly believe that there's enough – look, the XFL was here for about a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? Those guys are all still in relatively good shape. You got kids that are undrafted college free agents. There is enough people out there at the level of skill for the NFL that don't have a home that would gladly step in for one of these guys opting out. Gladly step in. Does that mean they're going to take a hit in competition? You probably, I mean, you can't replace a guy like I don't know, for our instance, like if Cooper says, you know what, I'm done. It's hard to replace a Cooper. You know what I mean? So I think to me, it's kind of, and I know we talked earlier, like before we started recording, or streaming, but like the opt-out thing, it feels a little sketchy to me. I mean, I might be in the minority here, but think about it. Like the Cowboys, for instance, had Stephen Guidry opt out, right? Stephen Guidry was not going to make this team.
And neither was Maurice Kennedy.
Stephen Guidry's going to get $150,000. What would you rather have? Would you rather have $0 or $150,000?
Yeah.
That's easy math. And if I'm not mistaken, that's how it works. If you opt out, you get that money. I believe Guidry might not be able to be eligible, but I know Kennedy is for sure. So it's like, there's plenty more people like that. And like I said, I'm not saying these guys are trying to cheat the system, but bro, if you're telling me you can make a couple bucks while doing nothing for the next 6 months, I'm gonna choose that.
Yeah, exactly, and I'm with you on that. And I was going to talk about that. We had 2 players opt out so far. Maurice Kennedy, which is a corner that I don't even think would have made the cut, in my opinion, or he would have been on the bench.
Well, I think Kennedy and Guidry both probably would have found themselves on a special teams at the very least. We lost John Vay Johnson for a little while. He's on the COVID list right now. But again, being on the COVID list doesn't mean you're out for the season. You know what I mean? Like all you got to do is test negative a couple times in the next couple of weeks, and you're right back into the flow of things.
Yeah.
I don't think John Vay Johnson is going to make the team. You know what I mean? So these are a lot of lower ranked players on the Dallas Cowboy roster that probably weren't going to see any action or time in September anyway. I'm not knocking the high profile guys that are saying they don't want to do this. Listen, we're all Cowboys fans here. When Marquise Goodwin of the Eagles said, "I don't want to play," I'm like, thank God. I don't want to cover him. You know what I mean?
That's it.
So of course it's a serious matter, but at the same time, like everybody has their opinions of it, or everybody has their reasoning of opting out, and I do not knock any player that doesn't feel comfortable. But at the same time, in the same breath, you got a guy like James Conner who just beat cancer and he's playing. So it's all about what's in here, man. If you got the heart and you want to get out there and play and represent your squad, then you're out there. If not, that's fine too. Family first. I am 1,000% component of family first before anything else. You know what I mean? So if somebody told me, Dave, you can go right for the Cowboys right now, broadcast for the Cowboys right now, but there's a 50-50 shot that you might get COVID, or you can stay home with your family, I'm probably staying home with my family too. You know what I mean? I'm not, like I said, I'm not knocking the people that are doing it. I just think that everybody has an agenda.
Yeah, it's weird because a lot of people have a different, and I'm seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter, and I'm sure you are too. People are telling them, listen, that's your job. Get to work. You know? Well,
I don't like that mentality, because that to me, that goes back to the people that were telling LeBron, like, shut up and dribble. You know what I mean? Like, go out there and do your job. You're a football player. I get that. That's their job. That's their career. But they also have a choice in the matter. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't want to play and you don't feel like you're confident in playing during a pandemic, you don't have to. That's the beautiful thing. And they're not going to. The only problem is these lower tier guys that are doing this, and I firmly believe this, a Stephen Guidry, a Maurice Kennedy, those guys, and the lower tier guys of every other team that have done this. Football is a very hard sport to make the 53-man roster. If you're opting out right now during a season that your team needs you almost better than ever before, what makes you think any other team's going to take a shot on you down the road?
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's something that we were talking about. And I said, some of these guys, this is their last chance to make the team.
Right.
You know, and now we have no preseason games, none. So these players are not being evaluated properly.
And there's a 10-man cut before you even step on the field. So, like, what are we doing here? It's like, you want to make this team or not? If you don't, goodbye. Yeah. Like, that's it.
That's why, when I heard about these two guys, I was like, okay, next.
Well, they have until August 3rd. You know what I mean? So they have until Monday or whenever that is. Monday to opt out. If they don't opt out, then that's our roster. We're good to go. There are decent profiled guys that are opting out. And it's, to me, I guess they're supposed to be like, when you see a decent player opt out, you're like, that should raise more red flags. No, he's no different. The first man on the roster to the 53rd man around on the roster is no different. You know what I mean? As far as your feelings towards this virus and this pandemic, if you want out of football for this year, you have every right to do that. You know, and some people will make X amount of dollars to support their family it's a loan, by the way. You know, you have to actually pay it back next year. So you just get it as like a credit line, I guess. But again, everybody has their own opinions on this thing, and I'm not going to knock anybody for opting out, but that's the league we're playing in this year. And you know what? And I've said this a million times, leave it up to a 2020 pandemic to be the year that the Cowboys get over the hump and they win the Super Bowl in front of no fans. That is a very Cowboy thing for us. If that's going to happen to us ever, it's going to happen to Cowboy fans this year.
I totally agree with you. I just want to jump into the chat right now. I want to send a shout out to Soul Flow Cowboys. Thanks for tuning in. The Boys 2138. This guy's been every stream that I've done. He's been here supporting, so I want to send him a huge shout out. Guys, if you have any questions for Dave, feel free to ask. So I just want to jump into, what do you think about DeMarcus Lawrence threatening to opt out? Now, we had a chat, and I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to. We had a chat before we went into the live stream, and I clearly said that I don't think D-Law is worth the money that we paid him, and I don't think that he stepped up last year. And you said something that I've been thinking, and I hope that he's going to step up this year. Elaborate on that.
Well, I just think that DeMarcus Lawrence statistically had a bad year in a year that he was banged up anyway. You know, like he wasn't himself. He was coming off the surgery. I just listened to Jane Slater and Bobby Belt, and they had an interview with his agent. And, dude, you talk about a guy who's ready and willing to completely tear the roof off of every stadium this year. It's going to be DeMarcus Lawrence. And I think he's got to be that vocal leader as well. I feel like the Cowboys have lacked that in the past couple of years, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Like, yes, Sean Lee is, like, in my opinion, is like the captain of the defense because of longevity. He's been there the longest. But DeMarcus Lawrence is probably, pound for pound, the best player on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, so I'll give him that.
When you're that caliber player, you really got to like verbally speak it. And I know he does. And I know he started the Hot Boys thing and which is awesome. I was a sucker. I bought the sweatshirt. You know what I mean? Like, of course, I thought it was cool. But, I think that this year is a prove it year, not just for contract reasons, but just to kind of let the Cowboys organization know, you paid me X amount. I'm going to live up to the hype. I think this is a very big prove it year for D-Law. And I think adding an Aldon Smith and adding a Tyrone Crawford back from injury and adding the interior. Listen, dude, defensive tackle. I played on the O-line along with tight end. There's nobody bigger and meaner than a D tackle, and they take on the brunt of an offensive line. So if you got Dontari Poe and Gerald McCoy taking care of the big hosses in the middle, that's going to free up DeMarcus Lawrence one-on-one. And I'm telling you right now, he can beat 95% of right tackles or left tackles in the league.
He's a force to be reckoned with, and and runners. I noticed something last year. Not a lot of runners would run in his direction. Right. Knowing that D-Law was, these guys did not, and obviously they decided to go the other way. So I'm not saying he's not a bad player. I want guys. I love D-Law. I think he's a force to be reckoned with. I just think last year he didn't have a season that he should have had, in my opinion. So that's
a lot of people's opinion. You're not alone. You know what I mean? You're not alone in that. There's a lot of people that say, look, you just gave him all this money. Where's the sacks? We get it.
Give me some sacks, man, because we picked up. Oh my God, I can't believe his name's leaving my mind. He left us this year. He led in sacks.
Robert Quinn.
Robert Quinn led in sacks last year.
Robert Quinn's a bad man, bro. I'm telling you right now. Listen. If I was going to pay anybody to come back and make sure he stayed, it was going to be Robert Quinn.
And when
I really like the way the way he gets low underneath the tackles, like he had just had some bursts of speed. The Bears are getting a really good player, Robert Quinn. But look, there's a price tag for everything. We've seen it, and we've seen the unfortunate, circumstances when we don't have the money to give certain players, we lose them. And we lost Byron. When Byron left, I wasn't like, put a gun to my head, like, oh my God, it's
Yeah, me
Byron.
too.
No, he couldn't pick a ball off if if it just, I don't know. Like I said, I can go on and on about whatchamacall. As I'm doing this, I'm also getting messages in the right hand side of from my editor, KD Drummond of the Cowboys Wire, basically saying, "Hey man, you need to focus more on your writing." so I got my hand in so many things right now, but I think that DeMarcus Lawrence, and like I said, you're not alone. He's got to live up to that big contract, and I think he does. I think he gets that started this year.
Yeah, man. SoFlo asked a very interesting question, and I definitely want you to answer this one. Who do you believe will be on the upside of D-Law this year?
To start, I think Tyron Crawford started off on the PUP list, so he's gonna get eased back into things.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of seeing what Aldon Smith can do, man. I'm telling you right now, there's a good chance, and I'm a big Jay Glazer fan, so everything he kind of says, I take as gospel. I truly believe that Jay Glazer was the one to really give this the push that it deserved to get Aldon Smith on a roster, not so much just the Cowboys, just on an NFL roster. If Aldon Smith comes out 85% of what he was when he first started, we got ourselves a hell of a defensive end.
I was excited when I heard he was coming back, and I hope he has a chip on his shoulder, and I hope he's hungry and he's going to go out there and prove something, because we need him to do that. And I totally agree with you. If he's anywhere near 85%, wow, that whole defense is going to look good. Listen,
and you know what?
Defensive line will look amazing. I'm just worried about a secondary.
The secondary, to me, I know, and I sounded crazy on my podcast, but I think the secondary is going to be better than it was last year. As much as I see, guys that are leaving, like a Byron Jones, and we haven't really addressed the safety position. We did add Clinton Dix, which I believe he's primed to have a really good year under Mike McCarthy, considering that's who drafted him. I like the safeties. I like Xavier Woods. I think the best is yet to come for Xavier Woods. He's in a contract year this year, man. So damn well he's going to ball out.
Yep.
And the cornerbacks, I think if you subtract Byron Jones, it's a huge loss. But then you went into the draft and you took, Robinson the second, and you also, obviously, the big one is Trayvon Diggs. And then you added a couple guys here and there. I think collectively they're going to be good. And I think Mike McCarthy is one of those coaches that he's only going to take you under his wing if he knows you can make a play on the ball. And that's something that the Cowboys haven't done in a long time is pick a lot of balls off. I mean, it's the truth. You lose a Jeff Heath who might have had a couple picks here and there, and we all love Jeff Heath. He was the GOAT. You know what I mean? He was our guy. But, I think they have more talent and skill this year than they did last year overall.
I agree with you. I think Diggs will have a huge season this year, and I said Woods would probably have a breakout year. Those two guys, I think, will have a phenomenal year going into the season. I was hoping to see some of what they're able to do with the preseason, but unfortunately, there's no preseason.
We're gonna. If you think about it, take the preseason for example, it's 4 games. So maybe by like week 3 or week 4, we'll see what the Cowboys are really made of. So hopefully we rattle off a couple wins in the early going, so we give ourselves a little bit of a buffer. But if you get off the gate and you're not winning games, it's going to be hard to rebound when you don't have any of those warm-up games. I mean, look, football fans have been telling the world, like, we don't need preseason. We don't want preseason. Cut the preseason in half. Well, now you don't got it. So now you're going to figure out what it's all about.
Yeah, no, and I believe we need it. And this is something that I've talked about with Nick's from Star Gang, and we're very opinionated. Big shout out to Star Gang. Preseason matters. It matters because a lot of these
to the lower guys too, the lower end guys that are trying to fight for a spot on this team. Like, how are you going to prove it by guarding your own guys? And I guess that's a good testament to who we have. You're going to get the best out of the cornerbacks because they got to guard for 4 or 5 weeks. They got to guard Amari Cooper, and then Gallup, and now CeeDee Lamb. And it's like, all right, you're going to find out if we have corners or not, because if they're getting burnt by our own guys, what makes you think they're going to cover everybody else? So
no, that's true. And we have the first couple of games we have are going to be the test. Week 1, we got the Rams.
I don't bill the Rams as good as what everybody said. I think they come in last in their division this year. I mean, that's my prediction. I have that. Well, between them and Seattle, I think Seattle takes a step back as well. I don't care if they got Jamal Adams or not. To be honest with you, I was all for getting Jamal Adams, but as soon as you go to Seattle, you're dead to me, bro. So,
I'm sorry.
I don't care about that.
I didn't want Jamal Adams. I kept saying he wasn't coming over to the Dallas Cowboys.
You can't give that much up for a safety.
No,
but
no.
It's just too much. Think about it. The Seahawks don't have a first-round pick until 2023. How much sense does that make?
That makes.
Come on.
There was no way, and Tuck said he would have gave up 2 first-round picks for Adams.
Tuck would have gave his firstborn child for Jamal Adams. Like, I'm not listening to Tuck and his trade offers.
Oh,
but so I think that getting off the gate and opening that stadium with no fans, no home field advantage anymore. So now it's just who's the better football team. And I think the Cowboys are stacked at the bottom a lot better, and they match up well against the Rams. The Rams obviously have a lot of talent, but they didn't really do anything to improve their team this offseason. I truly believe that. They lost Todd Gurley, and I know he was banged up and stuff, but to have him, you always have to have a body on him. I remember that one game, I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, Gurley just went absolutely apeshit on us, and it's too much for me to handle. That was actually the last time I went to a bar to watch a Cowboy game. I was watching Todd Gurley win again. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't handle it.
No. I'm with you. I want to send a shout out to Jason Jeremy, man. Thanks for tuning in. He has a question. Who do you think will be the best coach to take the Cowboys to the win? If you could choose anybody, who would it be? I'm happy with McCarthy.
What, in the NFL?
Yeah.
The entire NFL? I mean, there's plenty of coaches I really like out there. I like Bruce Arians. I like, if you want to go young, I like what Kingsbury's going to do eventually. But, yeah, I think Mike McCarthy taking a year off of football and learning the game a little bit more in depth. I think, he's not – listen, some of these coaches never recover from a bad loss. Like Shanahan has lost 2 Super Bowls now. Yeah. One is an offensive coordinator, one is a head coach. I don't know. San Fran might take a step back because he's just going to be screwed up in the head after losing 2 Super Bowls. But I think that McCarthy, like I said, taking a year off, he's not coming off any losing season or anything like that. He was home. He did his homework. He put together this nice project. And all of a sudden, he's the guy that's going to lead us to the 6th Lombardi that we've been dying for almost 3 decades.
This has to be our year.
Listen, I stopped saying this is our year a long time ago, man. I just have to roll with the punches and see what's what. But I got a baby girl now, so I got to kind of ease up a little bit. I haven't. Last year she was around. I was an animal, so I really have to turn it on this year. So.
I'm with you. I've thrown a few footballs around the house when I was kids. So I think we all get to the point where we just can't take it anymore. I lost. I don't swear. I think there was a game last year, Chicago game. I lost my mind. I came on live stream cursing.
I think the worst game for me last year was the Green Bay game because I know we got off to a real slow start and they were just rocking us and Aaron Jones was waving at everybody while he was running in the end zone. But I think it's because we came back and we were coming back and Dak started dropping dimes and I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna finally do this. Like we're finally gonna come back and beat the Packers. And of course, ultimately we lose. I put a hole in my wall and it's just like the rest of history, man. I said every 4-letter word in the American English language.
Yeah, so you mentioned Heath earlier. So SoFlo Cowboys said Clinton Dix is a better upgrade to Heath.
I think Heath is a better hitter. I think that Clinton Dix is a better football player. I know I sound like Jason Garrett on that one. Like we have good football players. No, I think he's skill set wise. Clinton Dix is more athletic, I guess you could say.
Okay.
And Heath read a good ball, in the air, and he was a good covered guy, and he can lay the boom. But overall, I agree. I think Clinton Dix is definitely an upgrade.
100%. Big shout out to Pat, 1984. Thank you for tuning in. So we're gonna jump over to training camp. So I'm just gonna do a little screen change over here. So training camp has started. All right, 2020 training camp, and we know that the training camp changed to where it was supposed to be and so on. Pre-training camp 53-man roster prediction for the Dallas Cowboys. So I pulled out a depth chart today where I felt was fair. I just want to know what you think about this depth chart. So quarterback, they got obviously Dak starting. Running back, they got Zeke starting. Wide receiver got Mary Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb. Tight end, Blake Jarwin, of course. Tackle, Tyron Smith, Lyle Collins. Guard, Zach Martin, Connor Williams. And center, Joe Looney. So would you say on offense you feel comfortable with those starters? Or
I think the biggest question might be left guard with Connor Williams. I think he's going to have to either beef up or get a little tougher because his competition behind him is really good. I covered a lot on the Cowboys Wire. If you want to check them out at the Cowboys Wire on Twitter, that's what I write for. Those guys, that offensive line is deep. I love Joe Looney. I think he's going to be the guy that can replace him. Tyler Biadasz is right on his ass. He's the big hoss we drafted from Wisconsin. The Cowboys have a very deep offensive line for the first time in a long time because usually when you lose like a tyrant to injury, like the world collapsed. We didn't know what to do. But for the first time, we have a couple guys behind these starters that are almost willing to be the starters. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. Connor McGovern is healthy now. He was drafted last year. So there's a couple guys out there that I believe can give a run for the money for left guard. Everything else I think is fine. The big one, the big thing is the fourth receiver. I know it's the obvious of Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb, but like that fourth receiver has been like null and void for a long time. They always have like these guys like a Devin Smith last year or Noah Brown or Look, I'll say it on this podcast, and I've said it on plenty of other podcasts. With the departure of Stephen Guidry, which is your unrestricted free agent rookie guy, he's out because of COVID. John V. Johnson's on COVID, the COVID list. Your other receivers are Cedric Wilson, Devin Smith, Noah Brown, those guys. Please, Cowboys, pony up, give Dez Bryant $1 million to come on this team and just try. Just give it a go to see if he still got it, because if you don't, somebody else will. And you know what? That's going to rub the Cowboys the wrong way as far as if he comes into Jerry World and scores a touchdown, throws up the X on the star, you're not going to like him very much. So I think Dez Bryant needs one last chance to prove what he's got. Yes, he'll have to change his number. I get it. Make him 18 or something. I don't know, whatever. Put an 8 in there. It doesn't matter to me what it is, but Dez Bryant needs to be on this training camp roster. I'm not saying he's going to be the fourth receiver for the Cowboys. I'm saying light a fire under guys like Noah Brown, Devin Smith, Cedric Wilson, guys that are on the cusp of being four. If you have Dez Bryant up your ass, you are going to perform better. So that's just my take. And I've said that a million times on so many different podcasts and my own too.
Dave, if I was with you right now, man, I think I'd kiss you, bro. Because I swear to God.
I'm socially distant, bro. 6 feet.
I'm sorry, man. Please, somebody else is on my side. Give Dez another chance. Have you seen
It doesn't have to be some astronomical contract. Just give him $1 million, right? $1 million, and say your guarantee is half of that, so $500,000, and say you'll get the other half if you make the team. That's it. What are you losing? $500,000? You know, you gave everybody else as much as they wanted. You offered Dak $110 guaranteed. So I think you have the money. I think you can make it work. You know what I mean? I've studied and hawked overthecap.com just to find out where our money lies. It's out there. We know we have it, and I think they can do it. All you gotta do is tell Tyron Crawford to say, "Look, you're making $10 million this year. Can you make $9 million so we can give one to Dez?" And that's it.
Somebody listen.
Problem solved.
Please, guys in the chat. Let me know if you guys would like to see Dez come back to the Dallas Cowboys. I know I do. I've been watching his training. He looks good, and I think he
looks great. But he's also, again, he's running routes against ghosts.
Yeah.
He's running routes against high school players and stuff like that. So he's definitely lighting up the Twitter world by saying he's back in the lab and he's got this, the wide receiver coach. He's putting in the work. Looks like $1 million. Achilles is a very, very difficult injury to come back from.
Yeah.
I think, imagine this. Like, picture this. Put yourself in a bubble and a cloud over your head. Imagine Dak Prescott lines up in the red zone on the 6, and they're stacking the box, and you got an opposition's best corner on Amari. The second best corner is on Michael Gallup. The third best corner on that team is on CeeDee Lamb. Who the hell is covering Dez Bryant in the red zone? Your fourth best corner? You throw that ball up, he's coming down with it. I'm telling you right now.
CeeDee Lamb and Dez, just those two combinations alone.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's a pipe dream. It's like playing Madden, but what are
Yeah.
you gonna do?
Pat 1984 says, I'm pro Dez. I love my dog, man. We did him wrong because of trash ass Garrett. And
I don't agree with that. I mean, look, I think that everybody has, just like any other of our favorite players ever. Look, dude, I'll tell you right now, you will not find a bigger Tony Romo fan than me. You know what I mean? So when he got hurt and Dak goes on this run, what are you going to do? You can't take Dak out at that point, and it crushed me. But every person, there comes a time, every person runs out, and Dez's contract didn't meet what they were looking for, and it was time to depart. But now, fast forward a couple years, it has the perfect recipe for a reunion right now. So.
Yeah, listen, throw up the X.
Absolutely.
I'm with you. I miss him. The excitement he brought to the game. He was a little rough around the edges on the sidelines, and he wanted to win. He wanted to win, and he felt like there was so many opportunities. And there's a lot of games that I felt that we should have won when Dez was on. And
they're all his wide receivers except for Amari Cooper, who I think barely smiles. But like all these receivers are divas, man. They gave Beckham $90 trillion, and the guy made love to a kicking net. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're all completely loony, and I think that they all have these personalities, larger than life personalities. The receivers, the corners, those type of guys are loud, sometimes obnoxious, but again, Dez always delivered when it was needed. Yeah, he took a step back. He was getting a little older.
Yep.
But again, now you have years off of football. There's no contact towards him, and he's ready to run some routes. So I say there's no harm in doing it again.
Yeah, Nate Rosario, another guy who tunes in all the time, he says, I want T.O. back.
I saw T.O. running against, I believe he ran against Tyreek Hill the other day, where it was like a race, and he gave him like a 10-yard head start, and he still got burnt. But T.O. at his age, dude, I pray I can look anywhere close to that at his age. Like, are you kidding me? Like, look. It's all great in your head, and you could see these awesome things happening. T.O. also, listen, I love T.O. I literally ordered a T.O. jersey from a cruise ship where I had no internet.
Wow.
I had no internet on the cruise ship, and I went and paid like $7 a minute on a cruise ship just so I can get him a jersey, because I got a text from my dad saying we signed them, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to get a jersey. So T.O. was my guy. However, the same year that he led the league in touchdown catches, he also led the league in drops. So let's not get it twisted. There was definitely a fall off of Terrell Owens, just a little bit.
No, 100%. All right, so I was just trying to jump into the defense. So for the 50-man roster prediction on the defense, on the edge, they got DeMarcus Lawrence, Tyrone Crawford, of course. Interior, we got Gerald McCoy, and we got Dontario Poe.
Yeah, Dontario Poe.
Yep. So we got Van Der Esch, linebacker, Jalen Smith, of course. Outside corner, we got Chibodi, I always say his name, Owuzie, and we got Diggs. Slot corner, they got Anthony Brown. Strong safety, Xavier Woods. And free safety, Clinton Dix. I'm good with that lineup.
Yeah, of course. And again, they got depth, man. They got some guys that definitely play. Dude, I'm telling you, my favorite corner on the team is Jordan Lewis.
Yeah.
And he's nowhere to be found there. You know what I mean? So we called him the ball god last year because every time there was a ball in his vicinity, he was taking it.
He was gone. Yep.
Yeah. And linebacker, again, another group of guys that after Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch, you also, obviously, we brought back Sean Lee again for a year, which, again, he'll stay healthier because he's taking less reps. And then, there's a lot of guys behind them that are just as good. Joe Thomas played under Mike McCarthy in Green Bay. He's behind that. So we have a very deep defensive side of the ball. It's going to make a lot of decisions harder. Unfortunately, I think like a lot of my favorite players might not make the team this year, or I don't know how they're going to kind of wheel and deal. I'm a big fan of like Antoine Woods as a nose tackle, a 3 technique and a 1 technique. He can kind of do it all. And I don't know if there's a spot for him because it's either him or Tristan Hill. And I think Tristan Hill, you can't waste a second-round pick on a guy and cut him the next year, So it'll be interesting. But I think the Cowboys are in a position where they're all good problems to have. You know what I mean? Like they have a lot of guys competing for a lot, not a lot of spots, but everybody that's in competition is relatively good this year.
Yeah, I think, listen, the Dallas Cowboys right now, in my opinion, look amazing on paper. Amazing.
They always look amazing on paper.
And
every year, man.
and we got a steal in the draft this year.
Trayvon Diggs had a 1% chance to fall to us in the second round, and he did. It was a 1% chance that he would be there, and he was there. I'm telling you right now, that's an amazing thing. And then, like, guys we scored later on, Bradley and I, he's another one that's going to be backing up Crawford and being, when Lawrence needs a blow. Like, they're stacked, man. They got a lot of talent on this team, and I think that if they just stay healthy, stay COVID-free, and they listen to all the protocols, that there's no reason why this team can't compete to be the NFC reps in the Super Bowl this year. I firmly believe that. So
you mentioned COVID, and this is a discussion I had with a lot of people, and I said the only thing that's unfair about this whole situation. Let's say we decide, okay, I'm playing devil's advocate here. We go ahead and we have a season. Dak catches COVID. He's out for 14 days. What does that do to our season? Now, not just Dak, any strong QB or in any other team.
Listen, that's what you got to roll with this year. That's the risk of playing during a pandemic, and I think that every team has a plan. I think for the first time, and I'm not talking about Dak's rookie year because that was like a weird thing where he was like the third stringer, and then like Kellen Moore broke his ankle, and then all of a sudden he was thrown in there. But like the Cowboys have struggled to have a serviceable backup quarterback for a very, very long time. There was times where when Romo went down, there was no shot we were winning. Brandon Weeden was out there throwing the ball to the opposite team. Matt Castle and the guys that like you were like, why are they even on football?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But now this year, you took a little bit of a shot in the arm when it comes to addressing your backup quarterback. I think Andy Dalton, if given the right fit around him, can still sling the ball. And I think that if knock on wood, something catastrophic happened to Dak, where again, that goes back and look, I know like I'm all over the place, but think about it. If Dak would have signed for the extension that the Cowboys offered, he was going to get $110 million guaranteed, right?
Yep.
But because he didn't, and he's playing under the franchise tag, that's all your guarantee right there. You get hurt, you might be toast.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So he's taking a big gamble on himself in so many ways. But if there were to be a shoulder strain or a COVID or a hamstring tweak, I think Andy Dalton can come in with this team that's around him and win some games. I couldn't say that about the Cowboys for a very long time if their starting quarterback went down.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think bringing in Andy Dalton, I said it. I said he's a good QB. I think that Dak can learn a lot from him. He has a lot of experience. And I think we actually have a good backup going into the season.
Yeah, it's not very common in Cowboy history. It really isn't.
No. So the boys 2138 says, sorry, Sid, in the middle of some things. Who does Dave think will be the Cowboys field goal kicker this year?
Oh, I'm big on Greg the Leg, man. I think Zerline, look, I loved what Kai Forbath did for us. I think the world was ready to buy Kai Forbath jerseys last year after we got rid of Brett Maher. And after we got rid of him, we brought in Kai. We're like, he's literally the second coming of Christ, and everybody loved Kai Forbath.
Yeah.
But I think Greg Zerline, he's Greg the Leg for a reason. He's Das Boot. He's the guy that he's a Brett Maher that can make 30, 40, 50-yard field goals. Brett Maher was a guy that can make a 60-yard field goal but couldn't make an extra point. So it was very difficult kicking game, I think. But Greg Zerline wins that competition.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Punter, they got Chris Jones, and long snapper, we got LP.
LP has been there since I was in diapers. It feels like
forever.
You talk about a guy. You talk about the best job on the planet. Just try to listen. If you have sons out there, listeners, if you have sons and you want to raise them to be athletes, teach them how to snap a football, and they'll have a job for 25 years in the NFL. That's it.
And be set for life.
I'm going to teach my daughter how to do it. She'll be the first female long snapper in NFL history.
Yeah, man. Also, the boys 2138, and this is something that I have a very strong opinion about. He says, not sure if you guys talked about it. LVE coming back with a neck injury. Now, I've talked about this on my channel, and I said a neck injury is no joke. Now, we all know that LVE had a neck injury from college. That's why he's wearing that neck brace. So now he's gone getting neck injury, and obviously we don't know what the real. Is he coming back 100%? A neck injury is not something to joke around. We lost Michael Irving due to a neck injury. Now
Right.
LVE got neck surgery. Is he going to be going in and hitting the same? You're lowering your head when you want to tackle. Are you worried about him coming back? And do you think he'll be coming back 100%?
I think he, after having as much time as he had off to recover and then have the whole entire off season, and now you're barely any contact until the end of August, and you're not really hitting each other, or you're not really kind of putting your crown of your helmet down on anybody. I think he's got a lot of rest. Again, like you said, a neck injury is nothing to mess around with. I think the Cowboys are okay if Van Der Esch this year misses some time due to some stiffness or a stinger or something like that. But again, it's up to him, man. You know what I mean? Like, when you're a football player, and I can speak to this because I played the game, but like, you got to be a dog the entire time. If you feel like any time you're timid or I tore my ACL in 2014 in a pro wrestling ring, and I was never the same. And I was like, you know what? It's because it was in my head, and I was scared. You know what I mean? I was like really timid on doing certain things. So I know that what Van Der Esch is probably going through is probably 10 times worse than what I went through, or anybody else with a leg injury. A neck, that's everything, man. That's everything. You lose your neck, you lose everything. So I think that because he's coming back and he's been cleared by doctors, I think that Leighton Van Der Esch will wholeheartedly make a successful comeback season, because if he had any doubts, he wouldn't be there.
I hope so, man, because like I said, for me, a neck injury is no joke. And the last thing we want is for him to re-injure it and be out for football season's done. Like he can't play again. So it's definitely something that I'm worried about, and I hope that he is going to be 100% and everything's going to be good. So before I let you go, I just want to ask you one last thing. Do you think Dak not signing was an issue? Do you think that I had Kelsey on, as you know, my show last week, and she said that Dak not signing is actually a good thing for him because of the TV deals that are coming next year, and that probably means more money for him.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's not. Todd France is his rep, right?
Yeah,
his agent, and I think that Dak has been misled a little bit by him. I think if we lock down, the problem is, everybody's curious to know if Dak is the guy. If he would have signed the contract this year, then there's no more questions. Dak is the guy. So because he didn't, you're going to have people talking about it all year long again. You know what I mean? Like, the next interception that he throws, am I going to rush to my Twitter and say, get rid of this guy? Yeah, maybe. But like, I like Dak Prescott. I think he's a very talented quarterback. I think based off his charisma and his leadership and his skill, he could be the guy to win the Super Bowl for the Cowboys. I firmly believe that. I think the franchise tag thing just, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense dollar-wise. You're paying him $31 this year. You pay him $37 next year if you do it again. That's $68 million. That's maybe, with all the change, it's probably around 70. And then you drop it, divide that in two. That's $35 a year.
Yeah.
It's exactly what the Cowboys offered. So what are we doing? You know what I mean? We're just nickel and diming, and it really didn't make any sense. And I think it would have set a better example if he would have signed for the team. But give me angry Dak Prescott all day long. I'll show you Dak Prescott all day long over a guy who signed a contract. Look, Mahomes just shattered everything that you can even imagine, in a contract value. And I'm kind of pissed off it happened right before the deadline, because now I'm thinking, like, what's Dak going to think he's going to earn if he goes out and wins a Super Bowl? Now you're talking Mahomes money.
Yeah.
Because he'd be on the same level as him. Technically won Super Bowl, So I think the Mahomes thing kind of messed it up a little bit. But I also think Dak betting on himself to perform and also to stay healthy is going to be the question all year long. Like, he takes a lot of hits. He runs hard and heavy and rugged. He's not Mr. I'll slide. He's Mr. I'll dive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, so he's got to be careful this year on the franchise tag, knowing that's the only guaranteed money he's getting this year. But again, give me angry Dak all day long. I like it.
I totally agree, and I think he's going to come out and definitely he has more to prove, and he's going to go out there and put up some crazy numbers and ask for more money.
Amen.
That's how I see it. And like you said,
Hey,
if he wins that Super Bowl, Jerry better open that.
They're going to give him the keys to Dallas if he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. So, one last question before I let you go. Prediction for the Dallas Cowboys this year. How many wins? How many losses?
When we did this early, maybe second episode. So this was 3 months ago before the draft. Before the draft, I had them hovering anywhere from 10 wins. But now you add what they did with the draft and what they did, in free agency. I could see these guys going 11-5. The best I could see them maybe going 12-4, maybe. I mean, that's really stretching it. If they go anything less than 10 wins, I think there's a problem somewhere. And we were saying it's been Garrett the whole time, but if we come out and win 9 games again, is it Garrett? You know what I mean? So we'll find out. I like McCarthy. I like what he's done. I love Kellen Moore. I think the entire coaching staff that they hired is freaking phenomenal.
Yeah. Those
guys are money. Every single guy on that staff is great. I got them 11-5, winning the NFC East. And I think, it's going to be a toss-up between them and probably New Orleans. I mean, look, I know the Bucs are getting all the smoke and the fluff, and now they signed Shady McCoy tonight, and everybody's like, oh, they got a running back now.
Yeah.
Just give it a rest. I get it. Let them play defense first. You know what I mean? Before you think that you have this ultimate offense. We also think we have an ultimate offense, and we also have to play defense. Defense wins championships, ladies and gentlemen. So that's where I'm sticking with. 11-5, NFC Championship game. Win or lose, I have no idea.
Big shout out, man. Jay Tuck just tuned in.
Oh, you're late to the party, Tuck.
Jay Tuck, you definitely got to rewind and hear the shots that were taken at you, man. It was actually.
No, shots. Come on.
Listen, he said if we go 8-8, is that added pressure on Mike?
If the Cowboys go 8-8, and is it pressure on Mike McCarthy?
Yeah.
Look, first of all, he's not getting a preseason. He's barely getting a training camp, and he hasn't been able to install his offense fully yet, and we're already at August is Saturday. So I truly think that Mike McCarthy has the talent. He has the talent alone to go 8-8. The talent around him alone. If he coaches anywhere, between what I think he's potentially able to do, that's when you could add those extra 3 wins and they get 11 wins this year.
Yeah. Oh, and Jay Tuck said, or does he get a first-year COVID pass?
Everybody in the goddamn NFL gets a COVID pass this year, man. It's a whole weird, very weird situation, and there will be football, and we will be the 2020 COVID-19 Super Bowl champions in front of no fans.
For no fans. Yeah, man. The boys 2138 said something. Zeke 1,600 yards, 15 touchdowns.
Listen, you ready for this? Ready for a bold prediction?
Okay, I'm listening.
Zeke rushes for 2,000 yards this year.
Are you serious?
2,000 yards this year. The only drop-off you're going to have in this offense is the numbers for Amari Cooper and the wide receivers, because go ahead, you cannot stack the box with this many weapons on offense. Zeke is going to have a lot of room to run this year. And you talk about a guy, I talked to you about angry Dak. Zeke
angry. Yeah, he's angry. Yeah,
Zeke is an angry dog right now, and he is going to feast and eat and do everything that he does, and he's going to have close to, if not more than 2,000 yards on the ground this year.
My only argument with that is I think they're going to start giving Tony Pollard a lot more touches this year.
I think he's more hybrid. I think Tony Pollard's more like, when the Saints had Ingram, he was the guy, the workhorse, and then Kamara would come in and spell and catch a couple balls out of the backfield. Look, TP is a nasty player too. He is unbelievable.
He's explosive, man.
I think that there's going to be enough games to add up where we're going to have 2 or 3 games that Zeke goes for 200, and people are going to be like, what the hell? Where is he going with this? And then all you got to do, technically, if you get 100 yards a game, that's 1,600 yards. Give me 4 games with more than 100 yards, you got 2,000 yards. You do the math, so it's not that hard to think about.
Yeah, the boys 2138 said, yeah, Dave, I like you, bro. And then he said, "Feed the man, Sid. Feed the man."
There it is.
Dave, pleasure having you on the show. Let everybody know where to find you. Let everybody know about your podcast. And I'll definitely be tuning in more often. And hopefully one day we could collab again, man.
Yeah, man. You can find the Jersey Boys podcast on all social media platforms, facebook.com/Jersey Boys Podcast. That's boys with a Z, like we them boys. So Jersey Boys Podcast on Facebook. You can find Jersey Boys Podcast on Instagram and, of course, on Twitter at Jersey Boys Pod, because I guess for whatever reason the podcast is too long. Jersey Boys Pod on Instagram. On Twitter. And then you can find me at Dave Sturchio, which you can find, I'm sure, on the graphic or the tag or anything like that. Give me a follow. Let's talk Cowboys all year round. And, I promise not to get as mad as I do with Jay Tuck than anybody else. So I'll leave talk. I'll try to leave Tuck alone during the season because there will be a season, Tuck. Imagine that.
Jay Tuck just threw one last comment. Zeke will rush for 2,000 yards and be a 91 on Madden.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. With a 90 speed and a 87 break tackle. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. I don't even want to touch on the Madden because I don't think Madden gives the Dallas Cowboys justice, but that's
Madden
another
doesn't
topic.
give justice. The top 100 doesn't give justice. None of that stuff.
None of
Everybody,
that stuff.
if you're not in the Cowboys circle, you hate the Cowboys. That's the bottom line.
I'm totally with you on that. Guys, thanks for tuning in to Speak Your Mind all the time. Definitely click that subscribe button on Dallas Cowboys for life. If you haven't already, click it, share it, let everybody know what we are about. Thanks again for tuning in. It's your boy, Sid, and I'm out.